Yeah,
but on the Earth, I gotta say, I disagree with them.
Do you? Have you heard him out?
I haven't heard him out, but I can genuinely say that I have earnestly sought out, like looking for, we used to do the conspiracy bit on this show, which we should do again. But I've earnestly sought out, like I wanted to make flat Earth theory my conspiracy.
Yeah. I've been sitting on 3 conspiracy theory ideas for over a year. So
well, don't. Well, maybe we should do this again.
I'll do JFK.
If we do it, I do call flat Earth because I will find a way to back.
I don't want to give away specifics, but I'm asking you guys all to stay away from the NBA. I know I had to put that out there. We're all racing to it.
Please, for the love of God, if you do that again, I would love to be a part of that. For one, Taylor, your fucking Helen Keller bit like legitimately convinced me Helen Keller was just like still, like, to this day, I'm on that train. I like unironically
100%, dude. As I was going through,
like a blind deaf feminist activist.
This is just true. Like this is
communist too.
True. That's the most culturally relevant thing, which isn't saying much, I've ever said on this show, is I still will get people mentioning that regularly every time Helen Keller comes up,
because it's just taught. It's taught in schools. Like it's just like absolute. Like that is the truth. It's like you take any critical eye. It's like, wait a minute, this makes no fucking sense.
That's ableist.
It's beyond retarded. And guess what? On that episode, I convinced both Anthony Cumia and Dick Masterson.
I love the moment where
I'm
you
on board
convinced Dick, because like you just started reading from some of her alleged writings. He's like, "I'll get the fuck out of here."
Helen Keller. Okay. All right. So I will make the case that at absolute best, and this is at absolute best, Helen Keller was able to say and comprehend a few words and short phrases. All the advanced speech she gave was trained and rehearsed for her by her trainer and teacher, Anne Sullivan, almost like a parrot more than a person.
Wow.
And so I will say this. She went blind and deaf at 19 months old. Do you know what the prognosis is for children who go blind and deaf at 19 months old in the year 2020 as opposed to 125 years ago? It's that they will never be able to function in society. They will never be able to communicate. They will not be able to engage in normal behavior. There is no hope. You just have to mitigate it. I looked up a lot of reviews of people who talk about this kind of thing, who work with blind deaf people. And what they say is that you're way more likely to have to engage with them lashing out violently at you because of confusion. And, it's sad. They're totally distanced from reality. And so they obviously lash out. You're way more likely to engage in that kind of behavior from these patients than you are them trying to read, because they can't read. There's a fundamental level of perception that you need in order to engage with anyone on any meaningful level. And that includes both audio and visual. You don't need both. Because
I never thought of this.
There are deaf people who can communicate and there are blind people who can communicate, but that's only because blind people take advantage of audio. Deaf people take advantage of visual. That's the only reason that it's able to be done. Is it a coincidence that in all of human history, there have been blind deaf people? Not once in human history, other than Helen Keller, have they been able to engage with someone like this and speak in this way. And also, and you may say to me, "Oh, there was someone 50 years prior to Helen Keller that was also a taught blind deaf person." That person is even less credible than Helen Keller. they literally are. I went on a deep fucking dive with it. And so,
I can't believe you're shitting on him. This is awesome.
So I'm saying it's simple. It is far more likely that she is a hoax than it is likely that of all blind deaf people throughout human history, she is the only one that was capable of speech. And not only speech, because remember this is not purported that she was able to recognize water. It was purported that she was a very political person with a lot of astute observations about the goings on in society. And what you don't know is that Anne Sullivan, her teacher, isn't it remarkable that all of Helen Keller's political beliefs align exactly with those of Anne Sullivan, her teacher? That's weird. It's weird that she finds this one woman, teaches her how to say a couple words. There are literally political speeches of Helen Keller that you can find where the actual speech is Anne Sullivan standing there talking with Helen Keller's hand moving in her hand.
Oh,
and
it's just like Joe Biden.
It's almost like Joe Biden. That was so fun. I felt like I found gold when I got that, where I was just like, wait, this is action. Because I went into it being like, I'm gonna make fun of this this poor lady for being a retard, basically. And like the more I went, it's like, wait, so this lady was a victim of her teacher Anne Sullivan? Like she was just a parrot? Wait, no, that can't be. Wait, all of her writing stopped when this lady died? That can't be true. Oh, it's true. Oh, fuck.
I would be happy to do JFK. I just watched Oliver Stone's movie for like the third time ever or something last week, and it's so fascinating. I love that movie, and you know, Trump supposedly declassified something. I look forward to reading or hearing updates on what is released and whenever it is released. But that one's fascinating to me because that's what they said happened didn't happen.
I think
that I know for sure.
A study to look into what to declassify or something like that.
I
right? Am I right?
JFK, MLK, and RFK Senior, I believe, but I'm not sure.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I know the lore is like, oh, they had a bunch of shit on MLK and they were trying to like blackmail him for a while.
Well, that's just facts.
Being like, no, that's like the lore, not necessarily fake, but like, oh, he was having a lot of you know, not so status quo sex in the 50s, like doing a lot of that
affairs and shit.
He was just a loud fuck is what it was. He was like, oh Lordy, Lordy, hallelujah, that pussy's good. And they had him on record, like they recorded him saying it.
If I was a viewer, I'd want to get it right.
From the bottom of your ass crack to the top of your pussy, let freedom ring.
Ma'am, I am about to come. Screaming with that warbling 1950s radio voice.
Beautiful.
That's great.
But yeah, I'd like
big
to
shout out to Murka.
Yes, the I have some cream speech. I was very familiar.
Brandon, have you ever handled one of those Carcano rifles? Those the Oswald supposedly used to shoot Kennedy?
Yeah. I got one downstairs. So we did a video on that a couple years ago, like trying to recreate it. We kind of did like a half-ass job.
All right, so here's my question: if I'm operating like a Remington 700, I know I can operate the action pretty fast. I can go click, 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 and I can be back on. Can you do that with? How fast can you cycle the Carcano?
I mean, theoretically, you could do it. Like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, from the distance that the shot was taken from Dealey Plaza to the book suppository, he
you did that on purpose, right?
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Wings of Redemption.
What? Yeah, oh, really?
He accident. Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, it's a mistake everyone makes.
He very close word to be fair. Like from that distance, it's like to do the follow-up shots at the timing, like 2, possibly 3 shots. It's kind of rough.
It's like 3 shots in like might be 4.7 seconds, and it's crazy. Like my question,
target, both hits, 3 hits.
There's a tree. There's a little bit of foliage between them two, and the interesting part is if he had been in that window to take a shot at the president. If he looks out the other window, the one that faces to the left rather than the one he's shooting at, he can shoot the president when he's heading directly toward him. He's got a head-on shot. And if a target's moving straight toward you, it's getting bigger as it comes. And obviously it's not moving laterally or up and down or anything. It's a much easier shot than what he supposedly did. Getting those 3 shots off. And then there's also the whole magic bullet nonsense. You know, when they show according to the Warren report, what those bullets were supposedly responsible for, because there's like 7 wounds total on Kennedy and Connolly and the car. So you can see, all right, the bullet had to go in here and then come out. Okay, there you say. And then what? Oh, into here. Okay. So then it made a left turn. And that was the Connolly report. Like the better than Ford was a magic bullet. And by the way, the bullet they found it on the stretcher in the Dallas hospital. Pristine. The projectile was pristine. If you shoot, even if it's a Full Metal Jacket bullet, if you shoot a deer with it, it gets muffed up. It gets mushroomed down. And this is a bullet that supposedly went through hell and fire. It went through all sorts of heavy bone and tissue, supposedly. It was nonsense. And to find it on the gurney?
Yeah, that's like finding a passport in like the 9/11 rubble. It's like, do you think we were retarded?
Like,
really?
You know, bullets do weird fucking shit, but at the same time, like between that, the shots, everything, it's like you're stacking probabilities and it's not looking great.
Also, his head, so you can see him in the Zapruder film. He's holding, after the first shot, he's holding his throat like this. Both of his hands, or he goes, ah. He's got a bullet hole right here. And he's still alive. And his wife is leaning over to check on him. And then a bullet comes from his front and to the right and blows out a whole section of his head right here. It folds out and open to exposed brain. And the whole back of his head, a quarter of it, comes off. And his head moves back and to the left. Oswald is behind him and to the right. His head, if Oswald shoots him in the head, his head goes that way, in that direction. His head went that direction. Back. It's
There's a
nonsense.
theory.
We should do this bit again soon because I want to learn more about how fraudulent what's claimed about JFK's assassination was, but I don't want to do the due diligence myself. And so I want you, Kyle, to do it for you. You did have do you remember one of your conspiracies got removed
1 million
from the
views
internet?
or something, right? How many views did it have?
It got like well over 1 million. The first highlight clip of my Helen Keller one got over 1 million and it got removed. It's like, what the fuck? That's not threatening to anything. And then Kyle did one. Kyle did one that had